The following episode of Money Talk is brought to you through the kind courtesy of Grand Belizean Estates. Get the facts about investing at grandbelizeanestates.com. Welcome to this 5-minute edition of Money Talk, where we tell you what's going on in the economy today. My name is Tomas and to my right I have Teresita Valdez, and we're joined today by Francisco Alvarado, who is going to give us an idea of what the bigger picture is out there today. So Francisco, welcome, and please give us some information. What's going on out there today in the world economy?
Yeah, well, Tomas and Teresita, glad to be here. There are several factors affecting the economy. One of them is the imbalance of trade between countries. When one country needs to buy from another, they require the foreign currency from that country. So you'll have the U.S. as more and more the U.S. stops producing, and China, for example, starts producing more, then you have that imbalance of trade. And then one country requires more currency from the other one. So the similar situation we have between Belize and Guatemala, and the U.S., right, where you have Belize requiring more imports from the U.S. So we need more foreign currency, right? So of course, if we don't have imports, that means that we don't have enough foreign currency. Now, what is happening also, another factor is that as governments start printing more money, right, to suffice their internal debt, right, that they have, because they need to pay for all the utilities, labor and so forth. So as you have more of this coming on and intensifying, then you have governments printing more money. Even though they say, well, I'm borrowing it from the central banks or borrowing from the people, but they have to print more money. So if you have an imbalance, if you have less external reserve than what you have really printed, then you have that imbalance. So your money starts valuing less and less, right? If we look at the U.S. debt, it's around $14 trillion, which is very, very alarming. And if we look at Belize's debt, it went from 14.8 million just recently to $2 billion.
Wow.
$2 billion, yes. It's a big jump. Okay. So meaning that government needs more foreign currency.
Okay, and how did that debt come about, the new debt that we have?
Well, again, I don't know the particulars. It would be interesting to know, but one thing I can certainly say is one would probably be the bond, the payment of loans that we had to do, the super bond, just we had that payment due. And of course, trade, right? If money is not coming in and people are requiring foreign currency, then you have to go get it out there. You have to borrow it. Like let's say, for example, let's say you have a lot of money that owe you, but at the end of the day you're with no cash, then you have to look for cash elsewhere, right? And that is when you run to your credit card. So that is exactly what governments do. They run for their credit card, which is the foreign market, to buy things, right? So that is what you have happening.
And as a Belizean, how does this affect me?
Well, it really affects us in many ways, but one of the most alarming one, and it's already affecting us. So it's not how it's going to affect us. It's already affecting us in terms of devaluation. The U.S. In terms of or compared to other currencies has already devalued, and that caused Belize's debt to be revalued at $4.4 million more. Meaning that our debt went up by that amount.
Okay, and so what you're saying is that since we're pegged 2 to 1 to the US dollar, our dollar must have been, our debt must have gone up a bit because the US dollar was devalued. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct. And also you have to keep in mind that and you brought up a good point in saying, okay, if we're pegged 2 to 1. then what is that relationship? Basically what you're saying, that for every $1 that you have out there, you should have 2 Belize, right? It's a 2 to 1. It's a simple math.
Yeah.
But of course, as the economy grows, we also think that we're getting smarter and we start printing more money. And of course, there's a lot of cash out there, just currency, right? Because we have to define what is money and currency. Money, it was like gold days back, and well, it still is. And currency is just the paper.
Right.
So now, if you have more money out there, or the paper money, or the currency, than what you have in international reserves, then you can no longer be 2 to 1.
Okay. So what should our exchange rate be right now, if that is the case?
Well, after doing some calculations, it would be around 7 Belize to 1 US.
Wow.
So because there's too much M2 out there for what we have in reserves. So now you have either government collects back the M2, which is the currency, or they simply have to, increase production.
Okay. Well, that's our time for today. You guys definitely want to stay tuned. We're going to move on after this to talk about the 3 most dangerous reasons why saving can leave you broke. And you definitely want to stay tuned for that. So I would like to thank Francisco for joining us again today. For Teresita, this is Tomas. And this has been Money Talk. See you next time. This program has been brought to you through the kind courtesy of Grand Belizean Estates. Learn more about Grand Belizean Estates at facebook.com/Grand Belizean or youtube.com/Grand Belizean.